Hey, I'm Scott, and I am an American in Bangkok. I got a little letter. Actually, it was a comment that was made. Uh, this guy was referring to how I had talked about how living off of $500 a month was chump change, and this is a couple of years ago. So now, I was talking to a bunch of my expat buddies, and we were all talking about how people think that Thailand is so cheap, but if you really want some things of that are quality, or you want certain things, and you want them, and you don't really care. Well, you do care what the price is, but you want those items. You want to get them, and or you need them. There are certain things that the price is going to be higher, and I'll give you two examples right off the top of my head. I mentioned how I was looking for Cocoa Pebbles for Nicholas. Now, I don't even know what the cost of them is. I don't remember. I bought them from Foodland a while back, and I haven't seen them there it's probably been 2 years since I've seen them. But the other day I was walking through the cereal section, and I saw Lucky Charms and Tricks. Now, when I was a kid, once in a while I'd eat Tricks, and even Lucky Charms once in a while. I don't eat them now, and I don't really care, but I did eat them when I was younger, and I'm sure there are some people out there that they probably, I don't know how many 50-year-old guys or 30-year-old guys want to eat Tricks or Lucky Charms, how many feel the need to do that. But to give you an example, the Tricks was, I think it was 429 baht. The Lucky Charms was 379 baht. 379 baht means the box of Lucky Charms was about $11 US. The 429 baht, what is that? That's about $12, $13 a box for the Tricks. And there are all kinds of cereals like this. So that's just cereal. Blueberries, cherries, they're all more expensive. Blueberries here in Thailand, the frozen blueberries are about $5, $5.50 US, whereas in the US they're like $2.50. So there are a lot of things here that the price is higher or the same. And while Thailand is cheaper as far as the rent goes and much of the labor or labor-related things, there are a large number of things, automobiles, cameras. Most of the time, the price is going to be higher. So don't kid yourself, all right? Now, the only reason I'm bringing that up is because this guy was talking about how the best way to keep a low budget for food, and he said that getting very good home cooking quality, you need to keep eating with the street vendors. They are good people just trying to make a living, and they are strictly regulated by the health department. Once they get to know you as a regular customer, you will get lots of extra goodies thrown in, extra portions, etc. Well, now the last part is true. If you're a regular customer, they might throw you a little bit extra, or once in a while give you something. Oh, that's okay. But I get that just about everywhere. I mean, yesterday I was at the mall, and I was buying a tent, and I buy the tent, and the lady goes, "Listen, you can have this. I'll give this to you too. Where I just need to get rid of this thing." I said, "What?" This is at the mall, in the mall. She gave me a waterproof bag, one of those waterproof bags. Now, I already had one, but I was like, what is this? I looked at it, it was 370 baht. Now, that's like almost $11. She's giving it away to me because I bought a $60 tent, okay? So you get free things just about everywhere. It's not only the food, but I understand what he's saying. Now, his point was that you get this home-cooked food, which is very, very high quality, and you get it at a low price. Now, what I said was what I always say, which is try eating for 3 years or 20 years. Try eating street food for all this time, and don't eat pizza. Don't eat a nice chicken dinner from somewhere. Don't eat a nice Italian, like veal parmesan or lasagna from a good Italian restaurant. don't buy Western food from the groceries like blueberries or whatever it might be. You're not going to be able to most of the time. Okay, but whatever. I mean, you might be able to squeeze it in once in a while, right? And so what I said to him was that first I said try living off of street food for 20 years. It's you get bored. You want a variety. So I said forget it. It's not always convenient. It can be a pain in the ass during the rainy season. Definitely true. If you got to walk down the street or you got to take a little song towel or something or a motorbike down the street and it's pouring rain and you're hungry and you're like, oh, I really want something to eat. Guess what? You're going to have to wait. So it's not always convenient. And while I have no problem getting decent-sized portions from the vendors around my neighborhood, there are only so many types of dishes. After a year or so, I don't know, I got bored with it. It's like, how many times can you eat pad thai or pad siu or cow pat or pad kapow or something like that? I mean, you like to change it up once in a while, right? For me, the best home cooking, and I'm fortunate because once in a while my wife does cook a very good dish. She'll she'll take some time out, spend half the day cooking all these foods. Home cooking is home cooking. But what I really wanted to talk about with him was that he said that that when you eat at a with vendors, that their food is that there's a high quality because it's strictly regulated by the health department. Strictly regulated. So how do you strictly regulate the cockroaches and the cockroaches and the rats and flies and things like this? First of all, they're not strictly regulated. That's point A. Okay, they're not. Period. Okay, some are and some are not. And it pays to be sure that when you go to a place, one way to make sure that you have a high chance of getting high quality food, or at least clean food, clean by meaning that the restaurant is clean, not necessarily that the food is clean, and I'll bring that up in another second, is to go to places where there are a lot of people and that you look and you can see that the place is clean. If it's a grungy old place and there's one or two people in the place and it's in a busy neighborhood, guess what? It's probably not the best food and it may not be very clean. If it's a very clean place, they take pride in their place. They have a lot of new stuff. There's customers in the place. They're not. You don't get a plate and it's all grubby because it's been used so many times. These places are making money. They have a high turnover. It means that for some reason the customers like their food. It must be good. Must be fairly clean. Now, when I said that, the guy wrote me back and said, "Oh well, it's the big food chains that put all the junk in the food in the products like preservatives and MSG and stuff like that, because all these street vendors are feeding themselves with their own food." And I came back to him and I said, I'm sorry, but that's BS. And the reason is because some Thai vendors, many, and actually the markets themselves put something. Well, the markets put formalin inside of in the food, like in seafood, in the vegetables, and the vegetables have a higher than an amount of pesticides that is higher than, say, in the West. It's too high. Okay. Now these markets, these fresh markets, is where the vendors are buying their products from. Okay. So how can you say that this food is strictly regulated and it's such a high quality? I mean, bottom line is it's very hard to get any food that's truly high quality, that's truly organic and nothing's touched it. There are no pesticides or toxins in it. I mean, I'm worried about eating salmon now because of what I've heard. I have to buy imported salmon, and that doesn't necessarily mean that what I mean by imported. Obviously, all the salmon here is imported, but I have to buy the salmon that I believe is from places like Norway, which is more expensive than some of the other salmon that is here. But that's a poor example. But some of the fish, like the Thai fish, I don't want to eat it because of the toxins. Okay? So that's something to think about, is that, the seafood and the vegetables here are not quite as good for you as you may think. It's better than eating, a bowl of Lucky Charms, which is pure sugar. Well, maybe it's better. I don't know. I would think that it is. Uh, but I think you have to be very careful. And I think that, you can't kid yourself. There are no shortcuts. And I would say that if you think you're going to come here and live for next to nothing, you are kidding yourself and you're trying to take a shortcut. Bottom line is, if you're a guy and you've got a Thai wife, or you got a Thai girlfriend, I mean, if you got a good girl and she's willing to live a certain way, I'm sure you can live out in the country for $500 a month. I mean, but you're gonna be scraping by, and it's gonna be tight. You better have money in the bank in case you need it. But for the most part, I would say, if you like you got a girlfriend, and I'm talking about a modernized Thai who lives in Bangkok, or who knows what the deal is. Maybe she wants a house or whatever it is. She wants you to save money. You're not going to get by on the $500 a month, and you're not going to be able to eat street food all the time, because she might want to go eat Fuji sometimes, or she might want to go eat. My wife said the other day that her boss took her out for Japanese food at Zen. She goes, I can't believe how expensive it is. I said, you've been to Zen before? She goes, yeah, but I didn't remember it. I haven't been there in so long, I didn't remember it. It's because she won't usually pay. Now, we'll go to Sizzler sometime, and the bill for 4 of us is, $35, $40. We don't do it very often, and that's only like $10 a person. That's not really all that much. It's not like we're going to, $100 a plate restaurants. So I think that you have to be careful about, first of all, the amount that you set as your budget. I think you need to, if you think you need $1,000 a month, you might want to budget $1,250. If you think that you're the kind of person that you want to live in a $700, $800 a month apartment, you might want to budget yourself. Maybe if your budget for that was, say your budget was 60,000 baht a month, you might want to say, hey, you know what? How about 75? So, anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up. I thought it was interesting for those who are moving here or who live here and want to think about something like this. Give it some thought. Let me know what you think. Send me a message. Send me an email, whatever. Until next time, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Bangkok. Chok di, lat jerk and mai.